everyone, welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. Just give me 1 second, okay? Now it's fine. How are you all? Good evening, guys. So we haven't been able to take Hindu analysis. We weren't able to take Hindu analysis last Sunday. I wasn't feeling too well, so here we are. And today we are going to discuss some very important information that is really taken a huge popularity because people are discussing it, and this is something that we should know, since it contains an aspect of a family law, and family law from an exam point of view has a special relevance, right? So they would definitely concentrate on static laws such as constitution and all. Current affairs is a big part, but then family law is also something that they incorporate in their questions, because of course a huge debate among a lot of things. The recent debate of launching uniform civil code gives it all a particular uh, relevance, and that is the reason why we shall be discussing this. The Supreme Court affirms validity of self-respect marriages under Hindu Marriage Act. Now, what is it? Before we jump to the entire, what should we say, the content and the knowledge part of our session, you should know that there is an all India open mock going on since 25th of August, and it is going to continue till 3rd September. Guys, when I say this, I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen to me very, very carefully. I know you all take mocks. I don't know what is the frequency, but I'm sure you're doing it, right? Because it has been emphasized enough कि mocks वो हैं बिल्कुल, they're integral, that you cannot survive without taking mocks. Practice अधूरी रह जाएगी चाहे आप कितनी भी कर लें. Up, whenever you take mocks, you're always taking mocks in an individual setting where nobody is judging you. Everything is being done on your own, whether or not you analyze it, whether or not you examine your difficulties, identify your mistakes and strengths, and improve accordingly. But this is, a very unique opportunity that BYJU'S exam prep is providing you with. You get to compete with all the students who are going to be your actual competitors, actual peers on the day of the exam. Right, so it is an all India mock available at your disposal without any cost. All you need is to take this exam so that you can compete with students who are also going to be your competitors during the exam, so that you can actually examine and identify where you stand, right, from a bigger picture. अकेले तो चलो आप मैम मैं इतना स्कोर कर रहा हूँ, 70 प्लस जा रहा हूँ, 60 प्लस जा रहा हूँ, 50 प्लस जा रहा हूँ, लेकिन जब आप एक्चुअली उन बच्चों को फेस करने लगेंगे पूरे के पूरे देश से, तब आप कितना स्कोर कर पा रहे हैं? तब भी आप 60, 70, 80 प्लस हैं, right? So this is something that you cannot miss, and I've been seeing that most of the students are not taking this seriously. ये बहुत ही रेयर अपॉर्चुनिटी है, आपको बिना किसी खर्चे के, बिना किसी फी के प्रोवाइड की जा रही है. इसे मिस ना करें. ऑल इंडिया लेवल एग्जाम है ये, और ऑल इंडिया लेवल एग्जाम का सिमुलेशन एक बहुत बड़ी चीज है. यू गो टू अ कोचिंग, यू गो एनीवेयर, देर इज नेवर एन अपॉर्चुनिटी लाइक दिस वेर यू कैन एक्चुअली टेक एग्जाम्स फ्रॉम ऑल ओवर द country with the students from all over the country. You'd be judged on a bigger level, on the same level where the consortium is going to judge you. So I request, please do not miss this exam. 3rd September में अभी 4 दिन है, इसे प्लीज कंसिडर करिए और अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी को उस हिसाब से फॉर्मुलेट करिए. ओके, लेट अस स्टार्ट. Now, the Indian Supreme Court's recent decision overruled a 2014 Madras High Court ruling stating that advocates can solemnize self-respect marriages under the Hindu Marriage Act Section 7A. This provision recognizes marriages between Hindus performed in the presence of relatives or friends without traditional rituals or priests. So you just, get together among families and friends. There is no ritual that you are required to do. Ritual, of course, gives marriage a legal validity. The definition of every marriage given in every personal law is based on the customs and rituals that they have been practicing for centuries. Even a Hindu marriage is defined by an act of taking 𝗴𝗏s and 𝗪𝗏𝗀. So unless and until you take 𝗴𝗏s and do 𝗪𝗏𝗀, you have not validly, legally married in the eyes of law. That is how the important these traditional ceremonies, etc. used to be. Right, so 7A basically recognizes a kind of marriage where you don't have to go through traditional rituals and priests and everything. Just the presence of you celebrating with your friends, getting together, and the sense that हाँ ये शादी ही है, वो भी एक वो भी एक शादी मानी जाएगी. अब this legal recognition is basically in alignment with Tamil Nadu's government's amendment, so that weddings can be simplified. These rituals and everything, hiring a priest can be a little bit, can elongate the marriage in a way that instead of enjoying a ceremony, celebrating, you get what should I say? You get not thrusted, basically trapped in the traditional rituals and customary practices, a thing which this generation might not even be interested about, right? The court's verdict is seen in cases like 𝗟𝗲𝗴𝗹 versus Superintendent of Police, emphasizes that public declaration of marital status isn't a requirement for validity. The court's stance signifies a move towards modernizing marriage laws, respecting individual choices, and broadening the interpretation of valid marriage under the Hindu law. अब इसका point by point इसको discuss कर लेते हैं. Right, so how did the Supreme Court ruling impact the validity of self-respect marriages? The ruling overturned 2014 Madras High Court decision, affirmed that advocates can solemnize self-respect marriages under Section 7A of the Hindu Marriage Act. This judgment grants legal recognition to unions without traditional rituals, priests, or elaborate ceremonies. So getting together with families and friends, celebrating, taking pictures, decorating oneself, everything without fairas and mehendis and saptapadis and all of that, which people might not be inclined to do, will also have a recognition of a legal marriage. Now, this is actually something which is praiseworthy. You are affirming the concept of modern marriage. Marriage is not just limited to taking fairas and doing what your ancestors and the people from the religion have been doing for centuries. Marriage is a societal validity. Marriage is a societal recognition any which way. A societal recognition which law grants. Okay? It comes with certain rights and regulations and everything. In the absence of laws, obviously, how would you determine whether a particular couple is married or not? Then the impact of rituals and ceremonies was important, not impact, but the importance, sorry, the importance of rituals and ceremonies definitely was there. But now that we have proper full-fledged laws determining marriages, giving rights and duties to married people, giving them a legal recognition, giving their union a certain recognition, is all in line with how Supreme Court wants to expand the concept of marriage. अगर बहुत छोटे से शब्दों में अगर इसे समझाया जाए तो शादी एक बहुत ही लंबा चौड़ा तामझाम बन चुकी है. जब लॉज नहीं थे, लीगल प्रैक्टिसेस नहीं थी, लीगल इंस्टीट्यूशंस नहीं थे, तब इन पूरी ट्रेडिशंस का जो इम्पोर्टेंस था वो समझ आता था कि भाई तुम अदरवाइज कैसे मानोगे और कैसे बताओगे कि इन दोनों की शादी हो चुकी है. कैसे स्त्री और पुरुष को एक मोनोगमस रिलेशनशिप में बांधोगे अगर उनके ऊपर इतने सारे रीति रिवाज वगैरह वगैरह का बर्डन नहीं डाला जाएगा तो, राइट? अब जब लॉ ही इतना फुल फ्लेजेड है, इतना रॉबस्ट है, और लीगल ड्यूटीज और लीगल राइट्स और पूरा इंस्टीट्यूशन, उसका पूरा आफ्टर मैथ, बच्चों के राइट्स, बच्चों के राइट्स, दादाजी दादी जी के राइट्स, नाना नानी के राइट्स, सबके राइट्स बहुत ही क्लियरली ले डाउन करता है. तब इन ट्रेडिशंस में, सेरेमनीज में, कल्चर में, प्रीस्ट में, इन सब में फंसने की क्या जरूरत है अगर एक इंडिविजुअल उस पूरे प्रोसेस से नहीं गुजरना चाहता तो. सवाल ये है, people who want to do it, of course they should have the freedom to do it. If you want to do fairas, you are free enough to do it. If you don't want to do fairas, then also you should be free enough to decide that for your own marriage, right? आप शादी सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं कर रहे हैं क्योंकि आप फेरे लेंगे और आप शादी किसी और वजह से कर रहे हैं, राइट? और आपको मर्जी होनी चाहिए किस इंसान के साथ शादी करने की और किस तरह से शादी करनी है उसकी भी. अब जब मैरिज के कंसेप्ट को सिंप्लीफाई किया जाएगा तो आने वाले टाइम में भी राइट्स डेवलप हो जाएंगे. देखो, सोचने वाली बात है. राइट टू प्रिवेसी वाज डिक्लेयर्ड एज अ फंडामेंटल राइट इन केस पुट्टुस्वामी वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया. ऑल ऑफ अस न्यू इट, राइट? इससे पहले कितनी सारी बहस हुई थी. There were so many cases which tried to invalidate the, the importance or the significance of adultery in India, how archaic it was. There were so many cases. And then homosexuality was a crime. The redundant mindset and the, narrow outlook of people considering everyone else to be unusual, a freak, a weird creation of God, something that they're doing, on their own will and whim, and it is a disease rather than a natural creation. ये सारा का सारा सिर्फ इसलिए आ पाया क्योंकि राइट टू प्रिवेसी को के.एस. पुट्टुस्वामी वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने राइट टू प्रिवेसी को एक फंडामेंटल राइट डिक्लेयर कर दिया. राइट, वहीं से जैसे उससे पहले कोशिश हो रही थी, ऐसा नहीं था कि कोशिश नहीं हो रही थी. देयर वर मल्टीपल एफर्ट्स, मल्टीपल अटेम्प्ट्स बोथ बाय हाई कोर्ट्स एंड सुप्रीम कोर्ट्स टू to completely invalidate adultery, to completely decriminalize homosexuality, but they were not getting enough मटीरियल. तो उसको बैक करने के लिए कोई ऐसा राइट नहीं आ पा रहा था, कोई ऐसा इंटरप्रिटेशन नहीं आ रहा था जिसके कटोर में, जिसकी आड़ में ये राइट्स दिए जा सकें. पहले भी कोशिश की और फिर कंजर्वेटिव ग्रुप्स फ्रॉम एवरी सेक्शन, वेदर इट इज हिंदूज और मुस्लिम्स और सिख्स और क्रिश्चियंस, स्टार्टेड इंटरफेयरिंग विद दिस. ये जो नालसा का जो डिसीजन आया था जिसमें दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट ने 377 को डिक्रिमिनलाइज कर दिया था, पूरा का पूरा पहाड़ टूट गया. There were so many people, raising hue and cry कि अरे तुमने क्या कर दिया, सोसाइटी एकदम आर्केक हो जाएगी और हमारे बच्चों पर क्या असर पड़ेगा और ये और वो पता नहीं क्या क्या. और अंततः सुप्रीम कोर्ट को फाइनली वो डिसीजन ओवर रूल करना पड़ा. राइट, लेकिन जैसे ही राइट टू Garima, precisely. That is what this ruling, that is why I'm saying that this ruling is actually very interesting. अब जैसे the moment right to privacy became a fundamental right, there they had it. They had a very solid background which derived its validity from the law of the land, from the constitution of India. कि भाई जब तुम right to privacy को fundamental right declare कर रहे हो तो फिर तो adultery तो चल ही नहीं सकता. राइट, अडल्ट्री जैसा क्राइम हो ही नहीं सकता. सिमिलरली होमोसेक्सुअलिटी ये क्राइम नहीं हो सकता, वरना आप राइट टू प्रिवेसी को पूरी तरह से हटाइए. इट हैज बीन एन एक्सेप्टेड राइट दैट राइट टू प्रिवेसी इज एन एम्बिट ऑफ आर्टिकल 21 विच इज द मोस्ट सेक्रेड राइट conferred to us by the Constitution of India. Now, right to privacy, what does the word privacy mean? It entails numerous things, and everything that would be covered in its ambit is automatically protected by Article 21. And that is why they could do it. That is why Navtej Singh Johar and Joseph Shine were a possibility because of right to privacy. Now that the very complex concept of marriage is now at an attempt to be simplified, the recognition of a homosexual marriage is not that far. मैरिज की सिचुएशन को आपने धीरे धीरे करके अनरावल करना शुरू किया, उसकी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज को हटाना शुरू किया है. धीरे धीरे फैमिली के यूनिट की कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी को भी हटा दिया जाएगा, उसे एक न्यूट्रल कंसेप्ट कर दिया जाएगा. राइट नाउ द डेफिनेशन ऑफ फैमिली इज ओनली मैन, वुमेन एंड चिल्ड्रन, दैट्स इट. मतलब मैन के साथ वुमन और फिर बच्चे, वो है फैमिली, वरना कुछ फैमिली नहीं है. और इस वजह से कोई भी और रिलीजियस राइट या फिर कोई भी मैरिज राइट इन लोगों की मैरिज को लीगलाइज नहीं कर पाता. राइट, अब now that this concept has been simplified, even if it is one particular religion, I am glad that there is at least an attempt. There is an attempt to have a progressive outlook, to give an avenue, an opportunity to people to solemnize their marriage in any which way that they want to, and not to be bound by the religious, shackles and everything, whatnot, right? What is the significance of Section 7A in the Hindu Marriage Act? Section 7A acknowledges marriage between Hindus conducted in the presence of relatives and friends without the need of traditional rituals or priests. Reflects modern approach that aligns with evolving societal norms and individual preferences. Okay. How does the recent ruling align with the Tamil Nadu government's intention? Now, the Tamil Nadu government actually passed an amendment to Hindu Marriage Act, right? which they obviously, that amendment was limited to Tamil Nadu only, to the state of Tamil Nadu. And the objective was to simplify weddings and not get into the shackles of cultural and priest and ritualistic requirements. So that, people could be inclined to get married, so that there is, so the conflict between the Gen Z's alignment with marriage can actually be resolved. ठीक है, अब शादी करना आसान है, तुम लोग प्रीस्ट के सामने और ये फेरे और ये और वो, उसकी जरूरत नहीं है, सेलिब्रेट करो, पार्टी की तरह होल्ड करो, एंड दैट इज of course would be a marriage. Obviously saves a lot of money, is, it's a huge relaxation to the middle class families and the lower middle class families who are actually under a burden to, keep in line with the societal requirements and everything, right? इतने सारे लोग, उतना सारा खाना, इतनी स्पेशल सब्जी, कद्दू की सब्जी, ये और वो पता नहीं क्या क्या. So good evening. Yeah, so obviously the aim was to simplify marriage, so that because the generation is, it wants everything simple. Anything which is complex or complicated is something that the current generation absolutely runs away from. And if you want to sustain marriage as an institution even for future generations, you need to give them a leeway. And the best leeway is to simplify it. तो इसीलिए जो रूलिंग थी, जिसने ये जो मद्रास हाई कोर्ट की जो रूलिंग थी, वो तमिलनाडु के अमेंडमेंट को बेसिकली इनवैलिडेट कर रही थी, और उसी केस को सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ओवर रूल कर दिया और ये अमेंडमेंट वैलिड हो गया. ओके, दिस इज द एंटायर स्टोरी. हाउ डज 𝗟𝗏𝗴𝗃 versus Superintendent of Police case illustrate the court stand? In this case, the Supreme Court allowed a petition challenging a Madras High Court order that dismissed a self-respect marriage certificate issued by an advocate. So marriage happened between people, among families and relatives and friends, but the rituals did not take place, and the certificate was granted on this basis only by the advocate. It's a self-respect marriage. People want to get married. People want to get married. They don't want to get involved in a cumbersome ritualistic ceremony. And, this is a valid marriage. But ये marriage जो थी, उसे खारिज कर दिया इस केस में कि भाई ये कैसी शादी है, तुमने फेरे तो लिया ही नहीं. The court emphasized that public recognition is not a prerequisite for a valid marriage, emphasizing modern interpretation. So if society, फेरे किसके सामने होते हैं? सारी दुनिया के सामने होते हैं. वरमाला सारी दुनिया के सामने होती है. सप्तपदी सबके सामने होती है, राइट? मोस्टली तो यही होता है, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स ये होता है. किसी ने इलोप करके मंदिर में शादी कर ली, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग ऑब्वियसली, but everything happens in front of the society, so that society becomes a witness. Oh my god, the marriage has happened, we certified, we are an evidence to the fact ki haan, they got married publicly, they took feras and everything. Now the society will get involved if there is a dispute or anything like that, right? So if people don't want to do that, people, if just they want to live together and declare themselves as married without going through anything, then they should be allowed to get married. That is what the idea is, कि हम साथ रहना चाहते हैं और हम चाहते हैं कि हमें पति पत्नी डिक्लेयर कर दिया जाए. हम फेरे वेरे नहीं लेना चाहते, हम खुद को पति पत्नी मानते हैं, और हमारी जो इंटेंशन है उसको लॉ को रेस्पेक्ट करना चाहिए. इफ आई कंसिडर अ लेडी my wife and that lady considers me as her husband, and we don't want to do feras and everything, all of that, well then we should be allowed to confer that status to each other without having to involve in those feras and everything. ठीक है, तो ये है बेसिक आइडिया. एंड द कोर्ट सेज तमिलनाडु गवर्नमेंट अमेंडमेंट एक्चुअली advocated this particular notion only कि fair enough. I mean, they're not doing anything illegal. They want to be married without going through a process, and that is enough. That is absolutely fine. I mean, it is after all a title, right? It is after all a title. टाइटल का अचीवमेंट इतना ज्यादा कॉम्प्लेक्स क्यों है? स्पेशली इफ इट रिलेट्स टू अ पर्सनल डिसीजन, अ वेरी वेरी पर्सनल डिसीजन, राइट? बाइंग समथिंग और getting into a transaction of property is another aspect altogether. You need to register it, buy it, contract, etc., so as to solidify your claim to the property, because property is anyways is a complicated topic. There are too many disputes. Those फर्दर डिस्प्यूट को हमेशा हमेशा के लिए खत्म करने के लिए ये प्रोसेस है कि रजिस्ट्रेशन होना चाहिए, टाइटल क्लियर होना चाहिए, नो इनकम्बरेंस एंड ऑल दैट. लेकिन शादी में क्या डिस्प्यूट है? शादी में क्या डिस्प्यूट है? अब सोचने वाली बात है। ऐसा भी नहीं है कि वो मतलब मुंह से ही कह दिया कि वी कंसिडर ईच अदर एज हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ. No, of course you need to have a marriage license also. Without license you cannot really say anything. But the license is only granted after you have gone through the rituals and ceremonies, everything. So that's what the idea is, that you don't have to go through rituals and ceremonies and anything, but you can still get the marriage certificate. And that marriage will be called a self-respect marriage. And that can be granted by an advocate or anyone who is capable enough to grant it. So public recognition is not a prerequisite. Marriage is a personal choice. It is guarded by the right to privacy, and the societal norm should not really bound it. Now, what does the court's decision reflect about evolving marriage laws in India? The court's decision reflects a broader shift towards modernizing marriage laws to accommodate changing societal attitudes and individual choices. It acknowledges that essence of marriage lies in the consent and mutual recognition rather than adherence to traditional rituals. Something that I have already explained to you, right? So marriage is a personal choice. Who to marry is also a personal choice. Who would become your wife, who would become your husband is a personal choice. Are you getting my point? So if you want to get married, you should have a personal choice regarding everything. A religion or anything complicated to the religion should not affect what your personal choice is. ठीक है? How might the recognition of self-respect marriages impact traditional marriage practice? I mean, that is what, no, ki, the question is, can law do that? Can law grant marriage certificate without traditional ceremonies and everything? Of course it can. Why couldn't it? भाई सेरेमनीज वगैरह का लॉ से क्या लेना देना? चलो पहले तो नहीं था, पहले तो जरूरी था, लेकिन अगर कोई नहीं करना चाहता है लेकिन वो फिर भी शादीशुदा टाइटल अपने पास चाहते हैं, तो इसमें क्या बुराई है? भाई चुपचाप भी तो वो जाके फेरे ले ही सकते हैं, फिर भी तो शादी हो ही गई. तो बात वही है कि हम नहीं करना चाहते ये रात रात में 4 बजे के मुहूर्त में तारों की छांव में 10 फेरे लेना, और लोगों का पूरा ये जो करना चाहता है वो करे, पर जो नहीं करना चाहता उसके पास भी चॉइस होनी चाहिए. दैट इज द आइडिया. Recognizing self-respect marriages offers an alternative to traditional rituals and practices, signifies a departure from the conventional approach to marriage, paving the way for more personalized ceremonies and reflecting a changing culture and landscape. Okay. So you have seen those English weddings and Christian weddings. What ceremonies do they have? They have no ceremonies. Do they not get married? Of course they get married. They celebrate the marriage between families and friends. They wear a certain dress. There is an entire industry running on the dress aspect. But all they do is to get, to collect in front of God and sign a certificate. That's it. That's all that they need to get married. But we and the other religions, they require so much. And marriage has actually become so complicated. So there is no need of complication. Sign the certificate and be done with it. Right? That is what the Tamil Nadu amendment advocated, and that is what the Supreme Court has also reiterated. So 7A has paved a way for this. People who want to get married just like that, they can celebrate it in front of family and friends and get the marriage certificate without having to tie themselves in through feras and saptapadis and all of that. Q marriage certificate is given? No. I mean, marriage certificate is compulsory. We are only talking about the traditional rituals, the feras before the fire and everything. So you just get together, have a party, and you can sign a certificate there and then, and that is also a marriage. Basically, paving a way for a more modern approach, like no ceremonies left. In China, there is no ceremony of marriage per se. Okay, so what they do is they celebrate, they throw a party, and both of them, obviously there is an advocate who prepares a certificate. You sign on the certificate and you are married. That is what also a Christian marriage entails, right? People get together in front of God and they sign, and that's how the marriage is concluded. But some religions have laid down for a very complicated process of get married, for marriage, involving God in a very, in a very traditional form, and then vows and the marriage, the concept of marriage as it existed years and decades before no longer exists. Marrying, the most sacred bond ever and continuing for 7 births, 7 जन्म का रिश्ता है, ये एक मॉडर्न कंसेप्ट में फिट नहीं हो रहा है। और जब नहीं हो पा रहा है तो फिर लोगों को लीवे मिलना चाहिए इस कंसेप्ट से अलग आने का। तो तुमने सेलिब्रेट की शादी और तुमने मैरिज सर्टिफिकेट ले लिया, दोनों दोनों ने उस पर साइन कर लिया, तुम उतने ही शादीशुदा हो जितने वो लोग जिन्होंने फेरे लिए थे, ठीक है? और वही राइट्स और ड्यूटीज तुम्हारे ऊपर है जो बाकी सबके पास है। ओके, वट एवर रिलीजन यू कम फ्रॉम, ऑब्वियसली दैट रिलीजन वुड govern your marriage and succession and adoption and everything that you want to do after marriage. But then you don't have, the definition of marriage is not limited to feras and saptapadi anymore. It is the legal requirement of certificate can be availed without doing the feras and the certificate. That is what I'm saying. Okay, so that's it. I told you taking mock is compulsory. I want all my students to take mocks. I want to examine your performance, and based on the mocks that you are taking, you would definitely be given a special reward, the disclosure of which I'm not supposed to do right now, but you will get an extremely special reward. So make sure that you are taking the mock. I mean, that's what everybody has a choice. You want to have a grand wedding, do everything that you want to, do it. But if you don't want it, don't do it. Okay. So you can unlock a 3-day trial. Open India mock is compulsory for all my students. I have emphasized this over and over again, guys. A very rare opportunity that BYJU'S exam prep is providing you with. Do not miss it at any cost. ओके, डेफिनेटली टेक द मॉक। इसको लाइटली नहीं लेना है, इसको देना है मॉक को। ओके, और मुझे फिर अपना स्कोर बताना है और अपनी गलतियों को प्रॉपरली सम, इतने सारे बच्चों के साथ मिलके जब तुम मॉक दोगे तो क्या है तुम्हारा परफॉर्मेंस? कहीं तुम खुद को बेवकूफ तो नहीं बना रहे हो, तैयारी ऐसी हवा में तो नहीं कर रहे हो? ये सब जज करने के लिए जरूरी है। आपकी मेंटोर्स आपकी हेल्प कर सकते हैं। अगर आपके सपने बड़े हैं, आप रैंक चाहते हैं, बड़ा कॉलेज चाहते हैं, तो ये सारे जो ऑप्शंस आपको दिए जाते हैं इनको अवेल करिए, राइट? हाँ, आज नहीं होता है, लेकिन लास्ट संडे नहीं हो पाया था ना, तो फिर इसलिए मैंने आज कर दिया। आई मीन this week you are actually getting 3 analysis. I will continue to have an analysis on Friday, and then there's an analysis on Sunday as well. So this, yeah, I know, but last Sunday it couldn't happen, no? That is why. So we have launched the undergraduate test series for CLAT 24. You have more than 55 mocks, unlimited access to them. These are designed by us. You get an audio video solution, the same analysis that we offered on YouTube that day, right? So make sure that you are a part of it. We have also launched comprehensive courses for CLAT 24 and 25. You know all that the course gives to you. So that's it for today. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this, made notes of it. This is one of those topics which are very likely to be in your exam. Okay, so make notes. Try to, if you want a more detailed analysis on this, we can do it. Right, so please like the session, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and I shall see you again very soon. Not tomorrow, but very soon, I hope. तब तक सब अपना ख्याल रखेंगे, हम फिर मिलेंगे everyone. Bye bye, thank you.